Image halftone geometry is a system based on geometric nodes for creating halftone patterns with actual geometry derived from images or videos. Once you have downloaded the image halftone geometry archive, please extract the folder and all its contents onto your drive. First, you'll need to add this folder to the asset library within Blender. Open your preferences, select the File Paths category, then Asset Library. Click the plus icon, choose the halftone geometry folder where you unzipped it, and add it. For the import method field, in this specific case, I recommend selecting Append. This will make it easier to edit some parameters. After completing this, we will open the Asset Browser. Now, let's go to the Halftone Geometry tab and drag Image Halftone Geometry into the 3D viewport. We instantly see the real geometric halftone pattern created from a placeholder image. We can replace it with any other image or video. In the Modifier tab, we immediately see all the image halftone geometry settings. First thing, we can choose an image or a video from which a geometric halftone pattern will be generated. This can be an image or a video in any supported Blender format. Since we have successfully selected and confirmed our desired image, we can then move on to fine-tune its various parameters. Immediately, we have the convenient option to invert the image. This particular feature can prove quite useful in certain specific situations. Then we have the opportunity to set the base color of the halftone. And in this very place, we are provided with the opportunity to implement the color scheme from the initial picture onto our halftone grid. We will now proceed to examine the fundamental parameters of the halftone grid. We have several different grid options available. The first one we'll present is the triangle grid. The second one we're looking at is circles grid. Shifted circles grid, hexagon grid, honeycomb, radial grid, and there's rhombus grid. Using the height parameter, you can adjust the overall size of the grid, you can specify the height, and the width will be calculated automatically based on the original image's proportions. If you select an image with different proportions, the width will automatically be recalculated. Using the instance size parameter, you can precisely adjust the dimensions of each individual instance. By increasing or decreasing the value of this particular setting, you can effectively manage the overall density of the grid. The instance vertices parameter directly controls the total number of vertices present within an instance. By carefully adjusting this parameter, you can easily create an instance of a shape with any desired number of corners. The instance rotation parameter is specifically responsible for managing the rotation of the instance. Through the use of the offset parameter, you can adjust the dimensions of the instance without affecting the overall grid density. The grid rotation parameter allows you to rotate the entire grid completely. The delete small parameter allows you to delete excessively small instances. By editing this parameter, you can determine how small instances will be deleted. The value of this parameter must be greater than 0. This is important because if we set the parameter to 0 and apply the modifier, geometry from instances scaled to a single point will still remain in empty spaces. They won't be visible, but if we need to work with the geometry later, they will interfere. For this reason, we set the parameter to be greater than 0, and then the problem will disappear. Now we see that empty spaces remain empty as they should. Next, let's consider the color correction section. This is a group of parameters to adjust the brightness, contrast, and the gamma of the source image. This can be useful in cases where the halftone screen is either too subtle or too strong. By carefully adjusting these specific parameters, it's possible to attempt to rectify the current situation. The color effects section applies various distinct effects to the halftone, which do not influence the underlying geometry, but rather contribute to the overall color design and aesthetic presentation. These effects are already animated by default. You just need to activate the section, and the animation will start working. Here you can adjust the animation speed, making it slower or faster. Adjust the density of additional colors relative to the base color, and to assign the additional colors themselves. There are several different types of effects available. The first one is strobe, and the second one is noise. It has its own specific parameters that you can easily adjust and edit. And the third option is wave, which comes with its own parameters as well. The Add Noise section allows you to introduce abstract noise onto your original image. Adding this noise already impacts the geometry. The noise itself is generated from standard procedural textures, each possessing its own unique parameters. By adjusting the factor parameter, you can control the level of influence the noise texture has on the original image. Factor 0 means no influence, just the original image. Factor 1, only the noise texture remains. The image no longer affects the geometry, but you can still display the original image's colors on the abstract noise geometry. Upon activating the Delete Random section, we are given the opportunity to delete random instances, thereby creating more engaging patterns and visual effects. Within this section, it is possible to configure the exact number of instances that are to be removed. And there is also the option to set a seed for achieving greater variability. All parameters of the modifier can be animated. All categories of effects can be used both together and separately. This allows for a wide variety of effects and patterns. You saw some examples at the beginning of this video. Image halftone geometry has a wide range of uses and applications. It's great for motion graphics, creating abstract animation effects, but it's not limited to just that. Since this isn't just a halftone image, but actual geometry, we can edit it like any other geometry and apply any modifiers to it. And for example, we can add a solidify modifier and make the geometry solid. This can be used, for instance, for additional effects. Alternatively, we can take the geometry that has been created, and with Boolean operations, we can then cut it out of another object, thereby obtaining a perforated plate like this one. The resulting model can subsequently be used, for example, for 3D printing, or it could be drilling and manufacturing. If you want to modify the material's parameters, open the shader editor, where you can change metallic, roughness, emission, and other parameters. But do not change the color here, and do not delete the color attribute. If you delete it, this could prevent the halftone pattern from being colored correctly, prevent colors from the original image from being applied, and could generally disrupt the modifier's functionality. Change the color only in the modifier window. And now for a bonus. The actual geometry allow us to export it as a vector SVG file. Along with the modifier, you'll find the script SVG Export for image halftone geometry. You will find it in the modifiers folder. To run it, you need to open Blender's text editor window. Navigate to the scripting tab. Here, we need this text editor window, not that small Python console window. Do not paste code into it. If you paste code into the Python console, it won't work. We specifically need the text editor. Click the Open button, go to the Halftone Geometry folder, and open the script. The script allows you to set a path for saving the file. I recommend not saving the file to the root of the drive, but creating a subfolder. For example, if it's drive C, create a Halftone folder on it and save the file there. If you try to save the file to the root of the drive, the script may not work correctly. Now, it is necessary to select the Halftone object and then press the play button. Alright, the file has been saved. The resulting SVG file can now be opened in any vector graphics editing program. For example, this could be Adobe Illustrator, CorelDRAW, Affinity Designer, or Inkscape. The geometry is exported along with all the colors that you have configured in Blender. From there, you can then work with this vector file and use it in your design projects. The link to the modifier will be in the description under the video. Thanks, everyone. Bye.